That was Luther. Don't you know that? This is we're in the middle of the George Floyd murder trial, and I keep referring to that because it seems more and more that he is the one on trial for his own murder. And I pointed out earlier that I believe in order for Derek Chauvin to be found guilty, that George Floyd must be found innocent of his own murder. There's a startling consistency between the witnesses. One thing that is consistent is they all tend to be overcome with emotion. To a person, virtually everyone who has testified, from professionals, from fire professionals to people walking along, to dispatchers, to just children going to the store to get snacks for other children. They are overcome with emotion, that they are overcome with a sense of guilt, and they can't believe what they were seeing, because all of them were overcome with the notion that they were seeing a couple of things happen. One is that they were watching a man's life be extinguished in front of them. And two is they were watching a notion, an idea, a myth, the notion that policemen come to our communities to do good, that they are there to get kittens out of trees and help people change tires and have pancake breakfasts. And too often, that has never been our reality. Too often, the people that we laud for coming to protect and serve have never done that in our communities. They are little more than militarized armies, foreign occupying armies, who come to terrorize and rend and tear and to lay down the law. It was interesting to watch all of these people from whatever walk of life. All of them had been devastated by what they saw, but all of them also watched an idea die. An idea that these people are coming to help, that uniform represented something different than they saw. But too often for us, it is such a clear thing for us. For a lot of people in our communities, what we saw was consistent. What we saw was something we consistently see. Men who wear those uniforms oftentimes do not have our best interests at heart. They don't come to protect us. They don't come to serve us. They come to do exactly what Derek Chauvin did. Now, I think that it's interesting that every single person who was involved or who has been on the stand to date has been overcome with emotion. Every single person, from paramedics and people in the medical profession, professionally, to dispatchers, to children, all of them, every single one of them have been overcome with emotion at the idea that somebody was dying in front of them and that nothing they could say would change it, that nothing they could do would change it, that they were powerless. Every single person was overcome with emotion except the man who was actually kneeling on his neck. He was calm. He acted like nothing else was going on. He was calm. He was sincere. He was calm, and he was deliberate. He was focused. And so were the people who were guarding him while he committed his murder. Isn't it something that every single person that was at that event saw a murder, and him, Derek Chauvin, saw nothing? Psychopaths, sociopaths do that. I would guarantee you, if you had your finger on his pulse, his pulse didn't rise. That is what people like that do. And the problem is, all too often, and certainly not in every case, but too often, men and women with that mentality, men and women with that sentiment, find themselves in our communities. Every single person that witnessed that event, now being called to recount it, now being called to tell their stories, are shudder with the idea that they watched the man die. And the man who perpetrated that crime acted like it was a walk in the park, like it was Sunday. It was it was almost like they were in two different places. They were in two different places. The people who were watching George Floyd die, they were in reality. The man who was doing the killing, he was in an imaginary world. And we will see which one is more viable when that verdict is rendered. It's a little note from the GD section. We got the Jazz Report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.